Oh, right next to the boat. Holy smokes. Welcome back to another episode of Bassing with Captain Lou. So I'm out in the marshlands. My goal today was to go hunt after big bass. I mean, I'm throwing actually big swim baits, big swim jigs. And that was the goal, catch big bass. Love is in the air. There's a pre-spawn going on. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been seeing some nice big bass. But today hasn't been the way I planned. So I had to pivot. And what do I mean by that? Stick around, I'm gonna share with you what I mean by pivoting. And it might help you guys come out here when the fishing gets a little slow. Now, the reason why I say pivot is because when the fishing got slow, instead of just staying with the swim bait or staying with the swim jig, I had to switch. And the reason for it is because I noticed that the bass were all around the boat, but they just weren't active. But when I killed the swim bait on one situation and I just let it skirt around the bottom, it got a bass's attention. It didn't hit it, but it got its attention. So what I did was I pivoted. I went with a fluke. I went with a weighted fluke. I started fishing along the bottom slowly, and I started picking off fish. Not a lot of fish, but the fish started getting bigger, and I started picking something up until the day started to progress. I switched back to a swim bait, and guess what? The bite is on. That's a nice fish. Finally, a decent fish. My first decent fish of the day. On a fluke. Not the swim bait, not the swim jig, but a fluke. Fishing it slowly on the bottom, and I'm gonna explain what happened. So here's how I caught that fish. I was fishing the swim bait, and I think it may have been the same fish, but I saw like a nice 3 and change swimming along the bottom. So I cast ahead of it, and I made the swim bait fall in front of it. It looked at it, and then when I dragged it across the bottom and made little puff clouds of sediment, it darted at it, but it stopped to look at it, and then it swam away. So that's why I decided to fish the fluke. It's weightless on a 4/0 extra wide gap hook, and I was fishing it really slow along the bottom, and then all of a sudden the line got heavy, and it was that nice. That's the nicest bass, but I want bigger. But you know what? I'll take it. It's been a grind today. Camera was off. This is number 2. I mean, it's a nice bass. It's a skinny bass. Something's wrong with it. Freaking camera was off. But look, this guy's so skinny. But look at the size of its mouth and its head. I'm trying to see if anything in its gullet, but again, with that fluke. Okay, so in very short order, the bite has changed for me. I decided to go fluke along the bottom. So what I did, so you guys see full transparency, was I have a fluke, but I added a 1/16 weight on the nose. And the reason for it is because I am moving it along the bottom contours, and so far 2 decent bass, 2 biggest bass of the day, even though that was really skinny, have come off of that. So let's see if I'm onto something, because sometimes things happen. I was on a swim bait swim jig thinking big bass, and they may be wanting a fluke along the bottom, so go figure. That's a nice one. I mean, again, they're not big, but since I pivoted, since I decided to fish the fluke along the bottom, I'm starting to get, I'm getting fish, which is a plus, because this put me over 20 fish. So I'll take it. There's another nice one. Again, not the giants I'm after, but for the last 15 minutes, the switch went off, and now it's like almost every other cast, I'm catching a bass on the swim bait. So like I said, I pivoted. Okay, so earlier when the bite was slow, I pivoted. I went to the fluke, started fishing down below, was picking them off. Not big ones. I mean, my two nice ones, like maybe in the 3-pound range. But I started just taking my time. I'm getting more cloud cover. And now they're starting to bite. I mean, they're coming up and just really waking and blowing up on this swim bait. nice bass. One of the nicest bass today. Did you guys see that? How it was a submarine behind? Look at this guy. Beautiful bass. I mean, he shredded my swim bait, but he was a torpedo that came out of the stick, out of those reeds. Let me tell you, it's been a tough day. However, when the camera started to overheat, it was in the teens, my catch. And I'm at 31. So that goes to tell you, let me put this guy down, but it's such a beautiful fish. But it goes to tell you, when they turn on, they turn on. So there you guys have it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the outing. Thank you guys for sticking around. So the pivot. Remember to pivot. You guys may have a game plan when you guys come to fish. But if things aren't working out, just remember, you can switch things up, see what happens, and you'll be surprised how the bite can turn on just by the switch. And then you can circle back to the game plan again if the conditions change. That's what happened today. Like I said, I was going in with a swim bait and a swim jig. It just wasn't happening. I switched to a fluke. The bite started happening. I went ahead and switched back to the swim bait. Boom, they started connecting again. I mean, I wrapped up the outing with 34 bass. I'm not gonna complain, especially the way I started this morning. But again, I appreciate you guys for sticking around the video. Like this video, share this video, better yet, subscribe. The community is growing. It's good to be back on camera. I'll see you guys again soon. Take care of yourselves.